Hello students, we are starting with the chapter of inflation in India. As you all know, what is inflation? General increase in the price level of an economy is inflation, and this rise in the price will lead to fall in the purchasing power of the people. That means people with the fixed income will be highly affected by the price level increase because their real income will fall down. Then in the words of Professor Samuelson, inflation occurs when general level of the prices and the cost are rising. Then what are the types of inflation? Basically, there are of 5 types of inflation on the basis of government control, on the basis of political conditions, on the basis of speed, scope, and process of rise in prices. So we will be explaining it one by one. One is on the basis of degree of government control. First is open inflation. Open inflation means market mechanisms are freely operating without any check of the government, right? If it remains without the check of the government for a long period of time, it may lead to hyperinflation. Then is suppressed inflation. Suppressed inflation means there is a certain measurements, controls by the government. Government is keeping a different type of monetary controls on the inflation to keep a check on the open inflation. For example, rationing of the credit, price controls, licensing system. Then is on the basis of political conditions. First is wartime inflation. Wartime inflation means during the period of the war when the resources are very scarce and it is being utilized for the war purpose, producing the equipments and other things, then the raw material for producing the basic necessities will fall down. As a result, the supply reduce, but demand will remain constant. So if the demand is same but supply is decreasing, it will lead to price rise. Then is post-war inflation. That means after the time period of the war, the inflation that occurs after the war ends is post-war inflation, because government controls are relaxed at that time. They are not that much strict because of the post-war effects. Peacetime inflation, when the government spends a large amount on the projects with the long gestation period, increase in the government expenditure, okay, during the peacetime, it is called as peacetime inflation. On the basis of speed of inflation, first is creeping inflation. That is very mild, very slow increase in the prices, not more than 3% per annum. As per RP Kent, it is not more than 3% per annum. Walking, when it is between 3 to 10% per annum. Running, it is increasing with the double digit, 10 to 20%. Galloping inflation means then when it is rises by double or triple figures, 20% to 1000 per annum. Hyperinflation, when the price have increased at an alarming rate, now the government will have to do something, otherwise it will become very difficult to control it. The population at large will be highly affected by it. So when it is difficult to measure the extent of inflation, it has gone above 1000%, right? 4-digit inflation is there, quadruple inflation is there, it is called hyperinflation. On the basis of scope, sectoral inflation, when only one particular sector is affected, like we say it is an inflation in the iron and steel industry, textile industry. Then is comprehensive inflation, when the whole of the economy is affected, not only a particular sector. Then on the basis of process of rise in the prices, when the rise in the prices is just because of some of the processes like wage induced inflation, when the workers want high wages and the labor trade unions are there, they have bargained, and now the wages have increase in wages will lead to increase in cop means the ultimate price of the product will increase. Profit induced or markup inflation, when many big enterprises, they are adding a large amount of the profit to the cost, leading to increase in the selling price. It is called as profit induced inflation. Then is deficit induced inflation, when deficit financing is increased by the government. That means increase in the money supply of the in the economy. Then it is called, without any increase in the supply of goods, it is called deficit induced inflation. Demand pull inflation, increase in the aggregate demand without increase in the aggregate supply, right? Demand is same, demand is increasing but aggregate supply is same. You are not able to fulfill the increasing demand. Cost push inflation, when cop rises, as I have discussed earlier, taxes may be increased, raw material increase, wages increase, it will lead to increase in the cop, and the producer will pass on that to the consumers in the form of rising prices. Then the next topic is, what are the causes of inflation in India? First of all, population is increasing at an alarming rate, right? No check on the population is there. That's why there is inflation. Aggregate demand is enhancing. Fall in the production level, aggregate supply is not able to meet the aggregate demand. Deficit financing by the government, increase in the money supply but no increase in the supply of goods, increase in the COP due to different factors of production's cost is rising, heavy taxation by the government, devaluation in the currency as compared to the foreign currency, our value of currency is falling. Brands led inflation, when the brand names, they charge premium prices in order to maintain their goodwill, to give the brand name to a product, that is a inflation. For a very nominal type of a product, they are charging excessively high prices. Existence of black money, because people are not paying tax, right? They are tax evaders. There is a concentration of economic wealth, and the gap between rich and poor is increasing. Then what are the effects of this inflation? Because of certain reasons, inflation is rising. So what will be the ultimate effect of inflation on the economy? Gap between rich and poor will widen because of concentration of economic wealth. Fall in the standard of living. Due to inflation, with the fixed income, they will not be able to increase, to get that much supply of the goods and to maintain their standard of living. So it will fall down. Increase in poverty. Because of inflation, poverty will increase. Increase in social evils. Social evils means any kind of a bribe, any kind of dishonesty, any other kind of a things which is harming the society. Adverse balance of payment, adverse impact on the foreign investments. Foreigners will not be encouraged to invest in your country because of inflation. Leads to corruption, moral degradation. People will start doing corruptive practices. Adverse impact on capital formation. Capital formation is what? It is based on savings and investment. When the people are not left with any amount of money to eat, they will not be able to save also. Similarly, if there is no saving, there will be no investment. Leads to adverse impact on the capital formation. Then government has put some measures to control the inflation. First is monetary measures, like you have all read, like quantitative and qualitative measures. Quantitative is related with cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, bank rate ratio. By changing these rates, government try to keep a curb on the money supply. Qualitative measures like direct persuasion, credit rationing, credit quotas are being set, right? Fiscal measures, like in the budget, government has given some saving promotion schemes. When like in 80C, you see that there is around 1,50,000 rebate is given if you invest in particular NSCs and other type of FDs, in PPF. So these are what? These are some kind of the saving promotion schemes, so that people may save some amount of their income and invest it. Then imposition of the export duties on the export of essential consumption goods. If the people will keep on exporting the consumption goods, then there will be a decrease in the supply in the domestic economy. And if the supply decreases, aggregate demand is same, the price will rise. So therefore, in order to curb it, government has imposed some export duties. Increase in the import of essential consumption goods. Different essential consumption goods imports have been increased, so that the supply of the goods also increases. Various facilities given to the agriculture, like HYV seeds, in order to increase their production. Different type of facility is given in order to increase their production. Then different industries production have been increased by giving them various tax subsidies. Different PDS, public distribution systems, have been set up to distribute the essential commodities to the people below poverty line. Check on the hoarding and other malpractices. Different government institutions like Food Corporation of India, Jute Corporation of India have been set up. They will maintain a balance between the demand and supply, and hence maintain the price stability. And different population control measures have also been taken, like awareness about the population, benefits of the small family, they have been imparted to the people. Then what are the suggestions to check the inflation? Less deficit financing should be there. There should be check on the tax evaders, increase in agriculture and industrial production, check on the population, national wage policy. That means you are restricting the amount of the wages to be given to the wage workers. It should be on the basis of efficiency. If they are more efficient, producing more productivity, then performance linked wages should be there. They will be paid more wages if their performance is good. Appropriate allocation of the funds in the budget to the particular sector. Development of the infrastructure so that transport trade may enhance. Check on the hoarding practices. Restriction on the essential commodities export. So this is all with the chapter. We are done. Thank you so much.